Good evening and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Extra police patrols and pupils taken out of 2 Bradford schools after social media posts caused safety concerns.
It makes me feel I don't want to see my kids here at school because we don't know what's going to happen next. It's not the first time something like this has happened.
We'll be live at the scene. Also tonight. On a visit to Yorkshire, the Prime Minister insists voters will stick with the Conservatives because of levelling up. 2 marathon runners from our region are warming up for their Olympic debut this summer. We celebrate with Violet from Sheffield, who's retiring from waitressing at the grand age of 92.
And it's a battle between high pressure and low pressure this weekend. Join me later in the programme to find out what that means for Yorkshire and North Derbyshire this weekend.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Fears from parents about pupil safety at 2 schools in Bradford have led to extra police patrols in the area and students allowed to leave school early. One mother of a child at Buttershaw Business and Enterprise College told the BBC a video circulating on social media shows teenage boys armed with machetes and making threats. The college said no pupils were allowed to leave unaccompanied. Well, Phil Bodmer is there for us tonight. Phil, what can you tell us?
Well, behind me, Amanda, is Buttershaw Business Enterprise College. You can see it all lit up there, and just a stone's throw away, in fact, in front of it is Wibsey Park. This is where some of those alleged antisocial incidents took place over the last few nights. Well, as you mentioned, today the college took the unusual step of telling students it could leave early and asking parents to come and collect their students, and no student should leave unaccompanied. We spoke to one 15-year-old who expressed concerns about what has been going on.
Yesterday, one of my friends was out with some boys and then some boys popped out of nowhere and started threatening them with a machete. They chased one into a snicket and had a machete up to his neck. Some had their mobile phones and designer coats stolen. It's made me feel scared because they say they're going to come to school and get all the boys with the machetes.
But it's not just here at the college. A nearby primary school has also been affected. They asked parents to come and collect their pupils at 3:15. We spoke to a grandparent who was collecting a child from school, who once again expressed their grave concerns about the situation involving young people and offensive weapons.
I've got kids that go to that school, a bit worried about them. My daughter, she's got kids that go to that school. I phoned her up today and she's went to pick hers up. So it's like I say, it's not so good. Really not so good. It's just not safe in the streets of Bradford anymore.
Well, in a statement, the college says these were purely precautionary measures. They added that social media was causing some unease. The school offered for parents to collect their children early should they wish to do so in an effort to provide extra reassurance. However, they say it should be stressed there was no specific reason for concern and children should continue to come to school as always on Monday.
So a very worrying time, isn't it? What have the police had to say?
Well, West Yorkshire Police have been providing extra patrols around the school. We've seen numerous patrols circulating around the schools today here in Bradford. They say they were here to assist students with leaving safely. They say we are aware of social media circulating and we have monitored that situation. They ask anybody who has information about who's behind some of those posts to come forward and contact police at the earliest opportunity. Amanda.
Yes, thank you, Phil, for bringing us up to date tonight, live from Bradford. Next tonight, the Prime Minister has denied his national insurance cut will help London more than the North. Rishi Sunak has finished off a tour of Yorkshire this week by visiting a boiler factory in Keighley. And in an exclusive interview told our political editor James Vincent that he thinks Labour councils have mismanaged their money and reckons people that voted for the Conservatives will stick with them this year.
So, Prime Minister, welcome to Yorkshire. I know you've had a bit of a tour over the last few days. What have you been talking to people about, and do you think that the budget this week is enough to keep people voting for your side of politics in the next general election?
Well, it's been great to be out and about in Yorkshire yesterday and today talking to people about the budget, because the plan that we are on is working. Inflation has come down, wages are rising, the economy's outperforming, energy bills are falling, and because of all of that, we've been able to cut people's taxes. So for someone earning an average wage of £35,000, they will see a £900 tax cut this year.
I'll just pick you up on the average wage point. You talk about £35,000. In Yorkshire, that average wage is £4,000 less. So it's not going to help people in Yorkshire as much as it's going to help people in London.
Oh, it's going to help people wherever they are, and actually whatever wage you're on, you're going to benefit from the tax cut.
In terms of those cuts, those people on the lowest wage might end up paying more because they'd be pushed into paying more tax.
I don't think that's right. I mean, what we're doing for the lowest earners, those on the national living wage, for example, the national living wage is going up considerably in a few weeks' time, and that will mean about £1,800 pay rise for the millions of people who are on the national living wage. So actually we're really focused on those on the lowest incomes as well, and everyone in work is going to benefit from this tax cut, sorry, which is incredibly significant.
But we are still earning less than that average, and in talking about bringing people up to the same level, have you forgotten about levelling up? We've done a survey as part of the 40th anniversary of the miners' strike. 73% of people in coalfield areas think that they've seen little or no levelling up at all in their area.
Well, actually, when I've been about, particularly in West Yorkshire today and last night, talking to people, they can see the benefits of levelling up. Look, Keighley is a great example of it. They've had money from 3 different government funds, over £50 million of investment for regeneration, spreading opportunity.
But has it been spent yet? Because a lot of that money's not been spent. They've not seen it happen.
They have actually. Yes, they've already started seeing some of that money, and some of it is deliberately long-term. So Keighley is getting something called the Long-Term Plan for Towns Fund. That's £20 million deliberately over a period of time, and local people will be in charge of how best to invest that money.
You say you want to put money in people's pockets, but with cuts to public services, it's all right them having money in their pockets, but they can't go swimming. There's no leisure centres in Dewsbury to go swimming. What do you say to them? Local government finance needs to be sorted out because our councils are on the brink of going bust. They're running out of money.
Well, look, local decisions are made by councils, right? And plenty of Labour councils at the moment that are doing not a very good job. Actually, you're seeing that further south.
But they've had 40 to 45% of their budget cut
no,
the last 10 years.
That's not right, actually. And we've just put
those figures are there. That is right.
£600 million more into local councils, and it means that the average council will have about 7.5% more money to invest in local services this year compared to last year. And we're investing directly into local communities, as we've just been talking about.
Finally, Prime Minister, are you confident that those places that voted Conservative for the first time in 2019, you went Maltby yesterday, places like Rother Valley and Don Valley, are you confident they will stay with the Conservatives at the general election this year?
Yeah, I am. I mean, first of all, they have fantastic, hard-working local MPs. In a lot of these places haven't had Conservative MPs before, and that's because they've been taken for granted by the Labour Party, and we've changed that. And actually, you mentioned Rother Valley and Maltby. No Prime Minister has visited Maltby in the past, but I've visited that constituency twice in this time that I've been Prime Minister because I do care.
Dead quickly, can you tell me that the general election is not going to be in May?
I've said earlier this year, I'm going to say the same thing every time I'm asked, that the working assumption, as I said at the beginning of this year, was for an election second half of the year. Nothing's changed from that. But the more important thing is the substance. It's the choice. And the question, that you are asking me and should be asking me is, what's the choice going to be?
Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we'll have to wait and see. Well, as the Prime Minister mentioned yesterday, he visited Maltby, which after 100 years of returning a Labour MP, sent a Tory to the Commons for the first time in 2019. But will they keep the seat? Tom Ingle has been talking to people in the town.
Are these the green shoots politicians often talk about? Bloom opened its doors this Monday on Maltby High Street. It's already welcomed the local MP. He was sent to Westminster in 2019 when the area flipped red to blue.
I think it was a one-off, that we wanted something done about the village. We wanted it lifting up a bit. And we have got some money made available for the High Street, but not as much as Whiston and Dinnington.
Like Pat, I do like Alexander Stafford. He's always in Maltby. Well, he comes about twice a week, so you can talk to him. But I don't think I'd vote for him.
I can't vote for the Tories. The Tory councillors here are doing a fantastic job. I've got no problem with them at all. They do a really good job. And the MPs, not too bad, but the Tories as a whole, I think they've ruined the place.
Sometimes the fate of the local politician is decided far from their patch. If Maltby flipped, could it flop back? Rishi Sunak wants to ensure it doesn't.
I know the last couple of years have been tough.
Yesterday, in the town's Wetherspoons, he was making hay, telling people he was the first PM to visit.
I wish I'd have come down yesterday. I would have asked him, because I've got a few properties in Maltby, why 20% of that tenant's rent goes to the government to fund this 2% national insurance decrease.
So you're not a fan of this government?
No, definitely. And I don't know if I'm going to be a fan of Starmer's government either.
I've always been a Labour voter, but I won't be anymore. I won't be a Tory voter. I won't vote for any party anymore because they don't stand for the people of this country. None of them do.
Some of them are going to think, well, let's give them another chance. For me, I'd just kick them into touch.
I don't think it was well advertised that he was here. It would have been nice if he could have met the people in Maltby.
The election is on its way. Politicians of all colours will be out looking to turn photo opportunities into votes. What they're saying on Maltby High Street will be essential listening for anyone looking to form a government. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Maltby.
Yes, watch this space. Now, staff and volunteers in parks in West Yorkshire are some of the first in the country to have training to help them tackle harassment of women to make public spaces safer. It follows research showing 80% of women in the UK have been harassed while outdoors. Kathy Killick reports.
It took the pandemic to remind us how important our parks are. They're spaces to relax and recuperate, a bit of nature on our doorsteps. But new research by the University of Leeds shows not everyone feels equally safe or welcome.
Across the UK, 86% of women have experienced harassment in a public space. The Leeds Parks and Green Spaces survey found that 45% of women who responded to that survey had experienced harassment in a park. All the women and girls we spoke to had recalled incidents of harassment. It's a widespread, pernicious and pervasive issue that we need to tackle.
What is possible is a world where harassment is no longer normal.
This is a first step in trying to tackle that harassment. Park staff, volunteers and community groups from West Yorkshire are the first in the country to receive training in how to intervene and become an active bystander. Among them, Rachel Winstanley and Kate Honeyman. They help run music events in their local park in Wakefield. They've had trouble in the past with men hanging around and seen some suspect behaviour at gigs.
I think the training is excellent, but also I feel that maybe it's a long time coming, maybe something like that. And it's really great that it's actually been kick-started by West Yorkshire Authority, and it should be rolled out to lots of people.
Some of the key points to becoming an active bystander are summarised in 5 D words. They are distract, which involves ignoring the perpetrator and talking to the victim about something unrelated, like asking for directions all the time. Delegate, which means asking someone else to help you intervene. Document, which means recording what's going on. Delay, which means sticking with the victim to check they're okay. And lastly, direct, which means challenging the perpetrator directly, but only if it is safe to do so. Other measures include better lighting in parks with added CCTV and more group activities so women create safety in numbers. It's hoped parks can then become truly open to all and everyone can benefit. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, Wakefield.
A jury has found that there were fundamental failures in areas of training, documentation and communication on the day a man died in a police cell. An inquest has been hearing how 46-year-old Matthew Terrell died at Shepcote Lane Custody Suite in Sheffield in April 2020. Ollie Constable was in court.
Matthew Terrell lay on a blue mat in a police cell with his legs tied together and his hands handcuffed behind his back. This is where he died. The court had heard Matthew died from a heart attack, with him having cocaine, heroin and spice in his system. He'd been arrested earlier that day in a park, with an associate of Matthew telling the arresting officer he thought his friend's lips had turned blue. An ambulance was called but then cancelled after an officer felt that his lips weren't in fact changing colour. The court behind me heard how a custody sergeant at Shepcote Lane asked for 2 officers to keep a close eye on him while he was restrained in his cell. One officer thought he was asleep and snoring. Just over an hour later, he died. Training provided to police who were meant to be observing Matthew was described by the jury as inadequate. This focused around a detainee being roused every 30 minutes, which the jury said was not prioritised. It was some of these issues that contributed to the failings that occurred. Matthew's sister, Janine, said this outside court.
It has been a rollercoaster 3 weeks. However, we 100% agree with the fundamental failings that the jury have highlighted. It has restored our faith in the justice system, and in particular the jury. We feel very strongly this could have all been avoided if the ambulance had not been cancelled and Matthew would have been taken to A&E.
Today, the Assistant Coroner said a prevention of future deaths report would now be sent to South Yorkshire Police, largely reflecting the concerns the jury outlined. Ollie Constable, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
A parenting charity from York says some dads can't afford to take paternity leave because the statutory pay simply isn't enough. It comes as new paternity rules come into place today across the country. The government says the changes give families greater flexibility, but campaign groups want dads to be given more time off work at better pay. Christian Johnson's been to meet one first-time dad in Brighouse.
Isla's 9 months old. But when she was born, her dad Sean didn't take any paternity leave. He took annual leave instead because he couldn't afford statutory paternity pay, £172 and 48 pence a week.
It's not even 2 shifts a week. I won't be able to afford my rent. This is where she's safe. This is a safe space.
Today's changes mean paternity leave can be split into 2 separate chunks rather than a single block. But crucially, the pay is only going up by £12 a week.
Pointless. Couldn't take it then. And even now, I still couldn't take it.
York-based parenting charity Pregnant Then Screwed is calling for the government to boost paternity leave to 6 weeks at 90% of average earnings for all dads. But what would this mean for businesses?
Work pyro, put lighting rigs and video screens up.
Jim Farmery runs Production Park in South Kirby near Wakefield. Think massive stages and high tech for some of the world's most iconic artists. While he thinks big companies might be able to cope with dads taking 6 weeks off, he believes firms like his would struggle.
It would be a shock and it would be difficult to manage. We're very, very used to flexing up and flexing down in certain roles. But if you looked at like the finance team or the ops team, there's nowhere near the same kind of freelance culture in those kind of environments.
Some companies offer enhanced paternity leave, though. Tom's employer, Monzo, is one of them.
So I get 13 weeks off, which I can use within the first year of having Heidi. I certainly feel much more confident having had that solid space of time.
The government says today's changes are affordable for the taxpayer, but campaign groups argue funding 6 weeks leave for new dads would be a drop in the ocean. Christian Johnson, BBC Look North, Brighouse.
Oh, 2 gorgeous little girls, and those months do go fast, don't they? Now we're on to some sport, and you've had a busy day, haven't you, Sally?
Oh, very busy, as ever. Yes, I've been to visit 2 marathon runners from our region who've been selected for the Paris Olympics later this year. Callie Horger-Thackeray from Sheffield and Phil Sesman from Leeds will both make their Olympic debuts on the world's biggest stage in July. And I went to meet them, as I said, this morning.
Team GB is starting to shape up, and 2 of the runners selected for the marathon in Paris are from Yorkshire.
At the ripe old age of 31, I'm quite pleased to have got there this late in my running career.
It's all worth it when you get to represent your country on the biggest stage.
Callie Horger-Thackeray and Phil Sesman are warming up for the world's biggest sporting stage. For Callie, waiting for the team news was agonising.
It was the longest Monday of my life. And they told me, I got the phone call at 6 p.m. that night, and honestly, I was just every hour I was pacing the room. But when I got that call, it was just the best news, and now I can just relax and breathe.
Remarkably, Callie has only ever run 1 marathon in New York last year, clocking 2 hours, 22 minutes and 17 seconds, the joint second fastest time run by a British woman, behind only Paula Radcliffe.
It was an amazing race, and all the stars aligned on the day, and I'm very fortunate it did, and yeah, I still can't believe it even now.
2 weeks after that debut marathon, she was getting married. Her coach is now also her husband.
It's hard and easy, yeah, for sure. I love it because I know her so well. It's my favorite thing in the world, doing this with her alongside her, so I can't think of anything better.
Long-time athlete Phil Sessman has also had to wait a while to make his Olympic debut after impressing at the London Marathon last year, beating Mo Farah in a sprint finish.
Chasing him down for the final kind of 2 miles, I can see that it was him, and just like the wave of noise of the crowd along the embankment and down Birdcage Walk, and yeah, just really kind of trying to feed off that and let that carry me.
And he gave up his job as a junior doctor to train full-time.
I've turned my hobby into a job, and I love going out every day and running, and it'd be silly to kind of think that I'm sacrificing too much. Like this is what I want to be doing, and yeah, it doesn't really feel like that.
Both in their 30s, it's taken Callie and Phil a while to make their Olympic dreams a reality. But then it is a marathon, not a sprint.
Good luck to both of them. Now there's football tonight, the derby between Sheffield Wednesday and Leeds United. A Leeds win would take them back into the top 2, but Wednesday's turnaround under coach Danny Röhl is already amazing. 4 straight wins, and now Wednesday could climb out of the bottom 3 tonight, even with just a draw. Huddersfield and Rotherham will, of course, be hoping otherwise, though.
Everybody is looking forward. Everybody is thinking positive. I think nobody thinks at the moment about bad things in this club. Everybody is really positive about our next weeks, about our future, what we can building up here.
The last 10 games are always like the crunch time period. It's always difficult, especially also once you face sides who are fighting on the other end against relegation. It's never easy, and you always have to be spot on. So for that, we don't do too much math. We do our football work.
Not bad at all. And that for now is your sport.
And speaking of superstars, Sally, I believe it's a huge congratulations to you. I know you're very modest about this, but our lovely Sally has just herself become a finalist in the BBC Global Women in the News Awards this week. Sally was nominated for Most Inspiring. Huge congratulations from all of us at Look North. Sally.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a great event. Lots of fantastic women, so a huge honour to be there.
And I hope you'll be raising a glass this evening.
Probably, yeah.
In your own honour. Thank you very much, Sally.
Thank you.
Now, from one fabulous lady to another, how much do you love your job? Can you imagine doing it until you're in your 90s? Well, one Sheffield woman has just retired at the age of 92. Yes, Violet Garrity worked at the Crucible until she was 60 when she began waitressing at Kenwood Hall Hotel. Today, her hard work was celebrated at a special retirement party, and we went along.
The day starts early in the championship arena. For the greatest players in the world who live their lives poised on the edge of a pocket, playing conditions aren't allowed to be any less than perfect.
Met the snooker players, Jimmy White, Dennis Taylor, David Taylor, Silver Fox. I've got a friend that said, I says, oh, I don't want to stop working. I don't want to be around the house every day. I'd rather work. So she says, oh, I've heard of a job going at Kenwood, you know. So I rung up and I got an appointment to go for the job. And that was it. Shock, yeah. Absolutely fantastic, yeah, to see everyone, you know. I'd never done waitressing before. And so I was taught, you know, to do waitressing and everything.
31 years, it's an incredible thing, really. And she's worked hard every day. She's never been late. She's never left on time. She's been absolutely great. You know, hotels will survive and they'll go on, won't they? But she'll leave a hole, for sure. I enjoy my job. I go for pleasure, really.
It's rather special for Violet. It's a special occasion. 92 years old and still working. And I think there's a lesson for us all there, that if you keep going, and you can stay young. I wasn't planning to do it at 92, but looking at the way Violet is performing at 92, perhaps I'd better go on a little bit longer.
Keep working. Keep working. Don't just sit in chair all day nodding off.
Oh, congratulations, Violet. 92 years young. Can you imagine still doing the weather, Abby, in your 90s?
The weather, maybe. The 3 a.m. alarm, not so much.
No.
But International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day.
Yes.
Happy birthday for this week.
Thank you very much. 21 again.
Yes, not a day over 20, Amanda. You don't look it.
We'll stick with 21. How's it looking
It's
this weekend?
looking not too bad, actually, this weekend. Let's have a quick look at how things have been for today. It didn't start great, did it? A lot of mist and fog first thing this morning, a lot of low cloud as well, but that very stubborn cloud eventually cleared today, and thanks to our weather watchers we managed to capture a little bit more colour this afternoon. Thank you to Silver Surfer in Scarborough for sending this gorgeous photograph in, signs of spring. And if you would like to send some photos into us here at Look North, all the details are on your screen right now. You can tweet them at X, formerly Twitter, AviDew, Instagram, AviDew has one, and you can become a BBC weather watcher as well. Looking at the weekend, it is a bit of a battle between high and low pressure, and it does look as though the low pressure is going to win the battle. So we will start to see a little bit of rain moving through tomorrow morning, but the afternoon looks drier and brighter, so a little bit of brightness, a little bit of sunshine later in the day for tomorrow. The low pressure, you can see bringing up a weather front and bringing up a bit of a squeeze on the ice bars for tomorrow, but those winds will start to subside through Sunday and into the start of next week. So not quite as windy and therefore not quite as chilly as we start next week. A lot of cloud to start the day, but that cloud did clear away, so we were left with some brighter skies, but that cloud is going to build back up again in the early hours of tomorrow morning, and we'll start to see a little bit of patchy rain. Temperatures overnight dropping off to about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, so it will likely be quite a chilly start to the day for tomorrow. High waters then, you're next in Filey will be at 3:28 in the morning, and then again at 3:34. So a cloudy start to the day again tomorrow. There'll be a band of rain making its way up towards the north. It will clear most places quite quickly. So some legacy cloud across parts of North and West Yorkshire, but something a little bit brighter further south. And I think into the afternoon skies will brighten up. Temperatures 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. Still chilly along North Sea coast though. That onshore breeze not quite as brisk as today, but still just taking the edge off those temperatures slightly. Sunday we are going to see some rain overnight into Sunday. So we'll probably start on quite a cloudy, damp and drizzly note, and then gradually once again that rain will pull away, but there is still a little bit of uncertainty around the forecast for Sunday, so it might be that the rain lingers a little bit more. Probably worth keeping a closer eye on things if you are doing anything outdoors for Sunday. A chilly feel to things, those easterly winds still taking the edge off temperatures, but they will start to subside, and into next week our temperatures are set to rise, so actually feeling quite mild by the time we reach the end of the week. A similar sort of changeable feel, quite a lot of cloud, but it does look as though it will brighten up at times. The best of the weekend, probably Saturday afternoon, Amanda.
Oh, not too bad. Thank you very much, Abby. I have had snow on my birthday before now, so that's positively balmy. Good. That's it from us. Do have a lovely weekend, whatever you have planned, and we'll be back with your late news and weather at around 10:25. Hope you can join us then. Goodbye.